welcome to another little video. I hope you're well. I say this every week, but it's been a very busy week, but a very productive one. Yeah, so it's been a really productive week actually. We've been mostly actually packaging boxes for the Floral Edit Summer Celebration and Extravaganza boxes. I'll talk to you more about those in a minute, but I have also found a little bit of time to do some flower pressing and think what I'm going to do with the flowers. Yeah, a little bit of time for knitting, not a whole lot of time. As you can see, I haven't done that many rows, but I'm enjoying it. That's the most important thing. This is going to be a little cardigan for my little granddaughter. So I've made some progress and I'm loving it. Just wanted to show you this. I meant to show you this last week actually. So this is a little gift from my friend Liz, who is Pins and Needles Stitchery. She's on Instagram with that handle and she has her own shop. And I sent Liz a little bundle of vintage fabrics. We talk on Instagram. And she put this together and made it for me and sent it back. And I absolutely love it. So I just wanted to show you that. She's a very talented lady. She makes beautiful things. Yeah, and it's lovely to recognise all the little fabrics as well. So thank you, Liz. I wanted to show that and say what a clever lady you are. So yeah, I'm going to show you the some of the pressed flowers. I love pressing flowers, but often it's what am I going to do with them? So I love pressing flowers. It's something I've always done right back from when I was a little girl, when I used to make perfume from rose petals, and those that I didn't make perfume from, I would press all those years ago. I like to press flowers from the garden or things that I find on my walks, just really to have a chance. I very often will bring them home and draw them. Sometimes it's just about wanting, like the last of the blossom on our cherry tree, or I don't know, a little bit of honeysuckle, or I've got a beautiful bouquet of flowers and I will, as they start to go, I maybe will press one of those. And I do it throughout the year really. I do it with leaves in autumn as well. But it's what I'm going to do with them, because I've got them in books everywhere and I've now got them in sort of little drawers that I keep them all in. But I think I'm going to add these onto a piece of furniture, and you can do this actually to absolutely anything you have. You can put flowers on anything really. You can put them on books, you can put them in your nature journal, and I'm going to add them onto this little bit of, it's a mirror that we got actually, picked it up secondhand, needs a bit of fixing. And I'm just going to add some flowers to it and then use probably Mod Podge or something like that to sort of stick them down and see their beauty all year round really. Speaking of all year round, the other thing I love to do, one of my favourite things to do, is to stitch flowers. Sometimes as they are, like in this is a little embroidery that I did just as a little study that I decided to frame. Or sometimes I like to actually stitch from the pressed flower, which is really kind of what my herbarium quilt is all about. It's about the idea of, I see in beauty, I think, in actually the preservation of the flower. So it's not necessarily in its full bloom. And often, unless you're very good at pressing your flowers, the colour may go, but I still think there's beauty in that. So yeah, that's what inspired the herbarium quilt. So I just find nature inspiring in whichever way you choose to preserve it really, either in your mind, in a journal, in stitch, in painting, whatever it may be. So I have a lot of projects on the go, which I used to kind of be quite apologetic about, because back in the day when I first started knitting, I was only young, I would start on a project, I was knitting a cardigan, I would knit that cardigan, finish that cardigan and think, right, I'm going to cast on something else. Partly I think that was because you didn't have access to patterns and inspiration quite in the same way that we do now. But also sometimes I'm in the mood to do embroidery, sometimes it's applique, sometimes it's painting, sometimes I want to do knitting. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So this is a piece of stitching that I did, and I've actually decided to just add some more colour and kind of add some just running stitches and slow stitch into the rest of it, I think. Yeah, and just see where it takes me really, but I'm still enjoying it. I mean, it may be a while before this is finished, but I think the process of creating shouldn't be hurried actually, which fits in very well for me. So when I say inspired by nature, what do I mean by that? I suppose obviously that it triggers creativity in me. It makes me want to capture the beauty of the flower or the birds or a bird song or anything. So that will trigger something, but also at the same time, it's another sort of what I mean about cyclical is that you also want to find out more about what you're looking at. And that in itself kind of connects you more with nature. So it's a pattern really of me being inspired and then me wanting to find out more about it. And the more you find out about it, the more you see how everything is kind of interlinked in nature and the more magical it seems to you. So what I was just talking about mainly then was flowers, but also that's exactly how I feel about birds. Capturing the essence of a bird, if you like the cheekiness of a starling and the sparrows squabbling, is much trickier to do, much harder to do, both either in stitch or painting. But it's a challenge, isn't it? So in the same way as nature for me inspires me to stitch and sketch and things like that, for Christopher, he likes to capture that in painting and quite intricate sketches that he does. He's particularly enjoying oil painting at the moment. And again, like me, he will come back to things. He doesn't just have one thing, he'll come back to it. And whereas it inspires me to stitch, it inspires Christopher with his poetry. Because, as I said before, that's what he loves. That's what he loves to do, and he's very good at it. So I can't write poetry. Well, not good poetry, but I love to read it. And I mentioned last week that I've been looking into the pre-Raphaelite, well, it was the Brotherhood, and essentially also looking at how women sort of fitted into that. And Christina Rossetti was very much part of that. So I'm properly delving into all of it and reading about John Ruskin, and I love her poems. So, and I like this, although this is not the prettiest of covers, I like it because you get so many notes and help when you're reading it, and also, like I said there, further reading, a good introduction, chronology. And I think that the way a poet will capture a moment in time or an experience, and some of my favourite poetry is on nature, that is inspiring in itself because it helps you to see nature in a different way. Or it's like the poem The Path Not Taken, Robert Frost. Some people might find that path not taken anxiety, that, oh, why didn't you take that path? Other people might find it sad they didn't take that path. Other people would be, wonder what's down that path. And there's all different ways of interpreting poetry. There's no right or wrong. It's one of the first things I learnt when I was doing my studying. So I just find it a great jump-off point as well for inspiration. And speaking of poetry, we have some foxes where we live here. They actually live on the golf course, but you can see them playing, and it's been lovely watching the cubs grow. And that inspired a little bit of poetry by Christopher, which was part observation of nature and part imagining. So if I read you the poem, I can tell you what it's inspired. So the poem is The Fox, the Wren and the Oak. Dawn pads out and cracks the firmament, white as frost and crisp as eggshell. The roots of the oak, dark, knuckled like fingers gripped upon the white sheet of the world. The burnt russets flit and shimmer across the laid bare fields of linen crisp white. Only print of paw and smallest flutter tell their tale, one above and one below, embraced by oaken arms, together. So that, because we often get asked what inspires your boxes, do you start, sometimes we have lovely fabric in there, does the fabric trigger it? So in this particular one, it was very much the poem, and we just thought, that's got to be a box, that's going to be incredible. It's going to be our 12 Days of Christmas box. So the fox, the wren and the oak. So I spectacularly, when I put the listing up, I woke up to orders this morning, and I also woke up to quite a few messages from people saying, oh, it sounds lovely, what are the colours going to be? And I had managed to put the listing up without putting the colour. So the first thing I'm going to say is it's a 12 days Christmas box, which means that you begin opening it on the 25th of December for the next 12 days. So this is not an advent. It kind of follows on from an advent. And you will get 12 little individually wrapped and numbered parcels, and we're doing a box for the knitter and crochet and a box for the stitcher. So it will either have 20-gram minis if you order the yarn one, or it will have a little 3-gram hand-dyed embroidery thread if you ordered the one for the stitcher. And the colours of the box very much inspired by a winter scene with the fox, the wren and the oak. So the colours will be burnt russets, deep aubergine, chocolates, slate greys, charcoal, caramel, deep ochre. Really beautiful, rich colours, kind of reflecting the beauty of the wren and the fox and their relationship with the oak. So you will also get a little narrative with that. So every day that you open a parcel, there'll be a little continuation of the story in there for you. There is also in the box, for the yarn box, there is also going to be a large box pouch. So big enough to put a smaller project in rather than one of these smaller normal ones that I sell. There will also be a box of 6 beautiful 1/4-inch candles. So each one has got around a 3-hour burn time. They're made by a company who are quite local to us here in the southwest of England, with beautiful fragrances. And it will come, each box will come with a little ceramic candle holder. So, and I should say at this point that the fragrance of the candles and the candle holder in the yarn box will be different to the fragrance of the candles and the candle holder in the stitch box, because many of you like to order one of each, so there won't be any repetition either in the candles, the candle holder, or the fabrics used for the box pouch. Although they both have a box pouch, the fabrics will be different. It also comes with a 100-gram skein in the yarn box and a little sprinkling of extras that we're going to put in there for you. So for the thread side, you will again get 12 individually wrapped and numbered parcels, again each one containing a narrative, so it's the same narrative in both boxes. There is also going to be some vintage fabric, enough for you to make a beautiful little needle book. There will be a box pouch, as I've said, a larger box pouch stitched in different fabric, and the same candles and candle holder, but like I've said, different fragrance and different candle holder, and again a little sprinkling of extra treats. So they will ship out in November, so hopefully early November, so that they will be with you in plenty of time for you to begin their opening on the 25th of December. So yeah, that's going to be quite a magical box. It's looking at the complexity of nature really, and how it's all interlinked, and this sort of special friendship between these two creatures and their connection to the oak, because I love my trees. I've been inspired to stitch lots and lots of birds over the years. I probably would have showed these to you before. Bird news, by the way, the sparrows and the starlings constantly squabbling all day long. Absolutely love it. It's really difficult to get footage of them actually, because they move so quickly. The wood pigeon is still sitting on a very precarious nest outside my bedroom window. They've nested in the wisteria, and it's just a few twigs. I'm terrified of when the chick's there, but we'll see how that goes. The blue tits that are in the nest about this far below, literally a ruler length below, they fledged, and I missed that unfortunately. We could hear them really loudly in the nest, and we knew that they were going to go soon. We've also got a little lone dove. We have had problems with doves before where we just had so many of them, and I'm watching the starlings squabbling over a small amount of food at the moment. There's lots and lots of food out there. They all go for the same thing. Anyway, this dove, I literally come into my kitchen of an evening and it's sitting on the mat just inside the door, just waiting for me to come in. And I normally it's on its own. I go out there and check it's on its own, and then I just put a little bit of food down for it. And I did that the other day, and then Willow, I heard this noise, and Willow suddenly flew out the door, and I think she saved this little bird's life, because she suddenly saw a cat out the garden. So the dove's a bit nervous now to come down, but we've got the little dove, and Oh, as I made a note of in my diary, and I've got my little, the wagtails, my little trotty wagtail. Actually, I call it a pie wagtail. It's a white wagtail. She brought her chicks down yesterday. I'll try and put some footage in if I can find that. She brought her 2 chicks to show me, and oh, that was lovely. And also, yes, woken up by a blackbird, 4:45. I put that in my notes journal as well. So yeah, lots of bird stuff going on. Little Jenny Wren. So yeah, birds are just... Oh, my robin. That's my little robin. A part of my world, really. I just love being part of theirs. I love starting new stitches. So this is one of the patterns in our Floral Edit Summer box, which you can... I'm using one of the bundles of threads that come with the box, but you could... These are some of our other threads. These are the ones that come with the Woodland Boat Trace, and this is from our #1 Moments collection, Late Afternoon. Any of these will work beautifully with this because they've got a slight variation, so it changes throughout, so you get that lovely change like you get in chrysanths. And the idea is that this is just a little pattern that will be beautiful for anything you want. You could add it to a cushion, you could make it into a little box pouch, you could do what you want with it, really. But I just like little stitches. You could frame it, you could do what you want with it. And I'm just going to show you some Elizabeth, so that I believe there are a couple of floral edits left on the shop, but I also just want to show you the idea if you're stitching this is that I should probably do some pistol stitching here as well for the next one, that you're just overlapping all of these till you get to the centre, so you get this big blousy sort of chrysanth. Just want to show you as well Elizabeth. So this is our Inspired by Liberty Minis Club. These are the Elizabeth threads, which you could also use into any of your stitching. Again, because they've got the variegated, it works really well for doing florals. So this is our Inspired by Liberty. Again, there are a few, I believe there are probably a handful of the stitch left, and the yarn, they come with a little box pouch and the threads. This is on our BFL silk. That's Elizabeth, look at that fabric. And these are the sock minis. We also have some DK minis, which are beautiful, all which match with Elizabeth, and some maid skeins. So if you like Liberty and you like this fabric and you like these colours, then they're in the shop now. We've actually done the Liberty, and we're going to try and do it with all of our products. They're going to be dyed up so that they are going to be sent out to you. And the reason for that is because we know our numbers a lot more now. When you're a small business, it's difficult to know how many you can dye up, but we kind of know now regularly how many of these we sell. So these have been dyed up for you, ready to ship, and they are in the shop now, along with the last of the Bluebells bouquets. That's our Bluebells bouquet. That's a 100 gram skein and 5 20 gram minis, and on our sock base. Last few of those in the shop too. Cycling back to what we were saying about nature and a celebration really of nature, that is exactly what our Floral Edit Summer Celebration and Summer Extravaganza boxes were. And we have spent most of the week packaging and sending out the Floral Edit boxes. Many of you will have already received them now. The Summer Celebration have been packed, and the Extravaganza are going to be packed and dispatched next week. So if you haven't had your dispatch notification, you will in the next few days. And we have loved putting that together. There are a few boxes left. I'm not quite sure whether it's Celebration or Extravaganza, stitch or yarn, if I'm honest with you, but there are still some on the website if you love them. And they have been an absolute joy to put together. And I'm going to enjoy using the yarns and threads actually, and I hope you do too. And do let us know what you make with them. So yeah, I hope you love whether you're receiving a floral edit box from us or Elizabeth, and the Rose Garden will be going out the following week. Any new orders for floral edit will be going out at the beginning of June. And if you ordered our Selvage Chronicles, Blossoms and Blue Skies, that will also be going out in the next few days. So thank you for your patience, and we hope you love your boxes. We've worked really hard on them, and I think they're just about as pretty as we could possibly make them for you, so we hope you love them. So thank you so much for coming to join me. Hope you enjoyed the video, and wishing you a lovely creative weekend, and I will see you next week.